Hello chess enthusiasts, my name is Miha and welcome to my chessrealm YouTube channel. So Norway Chess Championship is over, Hikaru Nakamura won by the way. And let's go to the 8th round, another interesting game between Alireza Firouzja and Anish Giri. Let's see what happened. Alireza Firouzja had white pieces and he started with e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, and now g3. Well, we don't see that often. This is classified as king's knight opening, Konstantinopolski. And now normal developing moves followed. Knight goes to f6, d3, bishop to c5, bishop to g2, and now d6, and now c3. Preparing b4, attacking the bishop, so black plays a5, preventing this b4 pawn push. And now white has decided to castle king side, and black does the same. And now h3, preventing any unpleasant bishop to g4 pin, and black does the same, so h6 was played. And now knight goes to a3, preparing to deploy to c2, where it will be more useful, but black has other plans and plays bishop captures knight on a3. B pawn recaptures, of course, so black has given up on a bishop pair but has a better pawn structure. Black continues with bishop to e6, targeting this pawn on a2, currently protected by the rook. c4 was played, closing the diagonal. Now white doesn't have to worry about a2 pawn anymore. Well, d4 square is now not protected, so sooner or later it will be occupied by the knight. Knight goes to d7 was played by black. Knight to h4, preparing this f4 strike in the center. Knight goes to d4, but white doesn't play f4 at the moment. Bishop goes to e3 instead. And now black continues with c5, cementing this knight on d4. Well, capturing is not the best option. After bishop captures knight on d4, c-pawn recaptures. White loses bishop pair advantage, and knight will jump on c5. Black pieces are far more better coordinated. So in the game, rook to b1 was played. Attacking this pawn on b7, pawn goes to b6, where it is protected by the knight. Rook to b2, rook to b8. Well, black supports his b pawn and is preparing to advance, so queen to e1 was played. So white is preparing this f4 pawn push. After e pawn would capture, g pawn recaptures, g3 square is then free for the queen. But black is on the move and plays g5, attacking the knight. Well, knight doesn't have a lot of good squares. f5 square is twice protected, so white loses a pawn here. If knight to f3, then knight simply captures, bishop recaptures, and now h3 pawn is for free. Either way, black is better. In the game, white strikes with a stunning move. f4 was played, and black doesn't hesitate. G-pawn captures knight on h4. And now white continues with f5. Now you can see that bishop is trapped, and pawn on h6 is also at stake. Now black could try to defend with king h7, but black goes for another continuation. H-pawn captures on g3. Bishop captures on h6, attacking the rook. Black, of course, cannot remove the rook to e8. After rook to e8, then it's queen captures pawn on g3, and it's going to be mate on g7 in the next move. So queen goes to h4, protecting this pawn on g3. Now here it is not advisable for white to capture rook on f8. After bishop to f8, then knight recaptures. If white grabs more material with f-pawn captures on e6, then knight recaptures. Well, believe it or not, black is winning here. Knight is going to jump on f4, targeting this pawn on h3. Later rook to h8. All sort of mating threats can come up, and white is here in this close position, totally paralyzed. Okay, let's go back to our game. So white continues with queen e3. Rook from f to e8. Rook is not attacked anymore. White is not in hurry to capture this bishop on e6. Instead, bishop to g5 was played, attacking the queen. Queen goes to h5, abandoning g3 pawn, and now queen captures pawn on g3. So yeah, knight to e2, forking king and the queen is the threat, but white is preparing this cover attack. Let's see, after knight to e2, rook simply captures on e2, and if queen recaptures, then bishop goes to f6, and it's gonna be mate on g7. There's nothing black can do about it. So in the game, king goes to h7, and now f-pawn captures on e6, rook recaptures, h4 protecting this bishop on g5, also preparing bishop to h3, securing this rook, trying to grab the knight. Now rook cannot go back to e7 to defend the knight, because here black loses piece. So f6 was played, attacking bishop on g5. If white plays bishop to h3, then f-pawn captures bishop, bishop captures rook on e6, knight recaptures. Well, black has two knights for the rook, and the position is rather equal. So in the game, bishop goes back to e3. And here black uses the opportunity to finally play knight to e2, forking both king and the queen. So white has no other option but to capture the knight with rook, and this is what happened in the game. So rook goes to e2, queen recaptures, bishop to h3 now. Well, here black would play rook to e7, rook would not be attacked and knight is defended, but black has decided to complicate things. Rook goes to g8. Now rook is protected, white queen is pinned to the king, but white has a tactical maneuver at his disposal to save the queen. Bishop goes to g5. So interfering the g file. It's not a good idea to capture bishop on g5 after f-pawn captures bishop on g5. Then bishop captures rook on e6. Now if g-pawn captures on h3, then rook on g8 is twice attacked. White has the advantage in this position. So in the game, rook to e7 was played. Black is still exchanged up, but the position is very double-edged. Bishop to f5 was played. Check, king to h8. Now white has to be careful. Bishop on g5 is pinned to the queen and also to the king, so white cannot simply remove the queen out of the pin. This f6 pawn is causing a lot of problems for white. One of the possible continuation is if white removed the defender of this pawn on f6. So if bishop captures knight on d7, rook recaptures, and then rook captures pawn on f6. Black is exchanged up, but position is rather equal. In the game, bishop goes to g4, was played, attacking the queen. Queen goes to c2, and now bishop captures knight on d7. So black can recapture with rook. So if rook captures, rook captures pawn. But in the game, black decided to play f-pawn captures bishop on g5. So white is still exchanged down, but has a good drawing chances. One option is to remove the bishop to g4. Let's see, after bishop to g4, g-pawn captures on h4. Queen recaptures, check. Rook to h7, queen to f6, rook g7 and queen h6, and we have a perpetual check here. Well, it was Armageddon game in the case of a draw. The white loses because black had little time in the beginning. In this position, for white to secure the draw, it's enough also to play h5, keeping the files close. Even if rook captures on d7, then queen f3, preparing queen f6 with perpetual check patterns. Rook from d to g7 doesn't help, then queen f6. Even if king h7, preventing queen h6, then queen to a5, f5, king h6, queen e6. Even if king captures on h5, then queen h3, king g6, queen e6, and so on. But like I said, in the case of a draw, white loses actually. So in the game, in this position, white tries to win, but actually makes a fatal blunder. Well, Firouzja had very little time to think actually in the game. H-pawn captures on g5 was played, so opening the files. Rook captures on d7. Now black is gonna play rook from d to g7, capturing just g-pawn. g6 was played, threatening queen to h4. Mate in 3. Or mate in 2, if black plays rook to g7, then queen h4, rook h7, queen h7. But black plays correctly, rook to h7 was played. White is lost, g-pawn cannot capture because then queen is for free, and it's a mate in 2 actually. If white makes a random move, let's say a4, then rook captures pawn on g6. If queen recaptures, then queen h2 checkmate. Even after rook to f8, king g7, rook g8, king captures rook, queen captures rook, and then rook g7 again, white is lost. If, however, white tries with rook f2, attacking the queen, then queen c1 check. If king g2, then queen h1 checkmate. If rook f1, then rook h1, king h1, queen f1. Again, white loses decisive material. And realizing that all is lost, in this position, Alireza Firouzja resigned the game. So I hope you like this game. I hope you have learned something from it. If you have any questions, my email is below in the description. Of course, I invite you to visit my Instagram page. That's it for now, and see you soon.